So when you've lost your job, one of the first questions you're going to ask yourself is, what do I do about work? There are some options out there. And Kim Chernecki is somebody who can tell you all about those things. Kim works for a company or owns a company called Freedom Street Incorporated, and she helps people find a new purpose in life. Kim, thank you so much for joining us. And for somebody who's lost their job, what advice do you have for them?
Great. Well, thanks so much for the opportunity, Craig. Yeah, no, it's interesting, especially now, since we've been going through the whole pandemic, there's been a lot of restructuring, a lot of people that have lost their jobs. So this is really, really relevant. Well, it's interesting. I'm of the lens. I'm very much has always been a serial entrepreneur, even though I've worked with other organizations. But if you have lost your job or have been restructured, I feel very strongly that this is the time where you can reinvent yourself. This is the time where you can start up that business you've always thought about or always dreamed about starting up. So if that has been a thought, if that has been a dream for you, then I say this is the time to do it, especially if you have you've got a package from the company that you've been let go from or something like that. I've worked with like over 1,400 people who've done just that, where they've decided, you know what, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I'm going to take this opportunity and start my own business.
What's involved in that?
Well, in terms of starting your own business, I mean, there is quite a bit to do. As I mentioned to you earlier, it's not necessarily for the faint of heart, but it's what I believe is tapping into something that is your sweet spot, something that you're really passionate about, and turning that into your own business. If you've got that as the foundation, then you're 80% of the way there. Then from there, it's about, okay, so let's be able to articulate my value proposition, what it is, what the service I'm going to provide or what I'm going to do, and then create a plan around it. I guess the other big thing is being okay talking about yourself and being able to sell yourself and what you do, because let's face it, if you're going to be starting up your own business, you need to be the rainmaker in your business. So if you like networking, and you don't mind getting out there and talking, then that's kind of the high level overview.
And you also help people decide if they want to consult. What qualifications does somebody have to become a consultant?
Yeah, and it's interesting. I do. I've worked. In fact, most of the people that I work with are service-based businesses or consultants, coaches, that kind of thing, where you take who you are and what you know, and provide a service back into corporate. So to be a consultant, first of all, you have to have a deep level of expertise that you and know and feel confident in that expertise. So you've got to be able to have that for the first part. Really it's knowing that you can take who you are, package it up, and being able to sell it on back into corporate on on a project basis, maybe a contract basis, that kind of thing. I think the other thing to be a consultant, and this is the big thing, you can have the expertise. You have to be able to be a trusted advisor. You have to be able to develop relationships. You have to be able to have consultative conversations, ask great questions, listen, and be able to solve a problem. I'd say that is at least 50% of being a consultant. You've got this expertise, but then you have to be able to be consultative, ask great questions of your clients, and being able to find out how you can help solve their problems and then solve their problems. But that involves a lot of listening, and it also involves a lot of relationship building. So being really great at relationships.
They're kind of the same thing. If you're a good listener, you're way further along towards building a good relationship. People like to be heard.
Yes, they do. And you know what's interesting, Craig, is the number one job of someone who is going to be a consultant, consulting and providing services to an organization, is to make your client look good. Mm-hmm. It's to make them look good and to deliver results for them. And there's a lot of people out there that might have expertise, but people want to know, okay, you've got the expertise, kind of table stakes, but do I want to work with you? Do I like you? Do I trust you? And that's really important as well. And listening is the first step to, to developing that trust, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I teach an interviewing course just for that reason, because if you can learn how to ask questions and get things out of them, people actually like you more when they talk more and you talk less. You guys can get them to do a lot of work for you.
That is so true. And they're like, oh, that person was so great. I loved it. It's because they got to talk. They felt heard.
Well, people want to feel like they're listened to and they're understood. And speaking of understanding, a lot of people don't understand what their own skill set is. People who've been in a long time, we're trained to be humble. How do people go about evaluating what skill set they have to offer?
That's a great question. There are a lot of professionals out there that use different kinds of assessments. There's a whole host of different assessment tools to really get clear on what your strengths are, what you're good at. There's a really great one called the Strengths Finder assessment, which can help you nail your top 5 strengths. And you'd be surprised at what those strengths are. Like, for example, being strategic, being inclusive, that kind of thing can really... Are those skills? Yeah, but they're more strengths than anything, because I believe there's skills, there's what you're great at, and there's talents. And it's like finding the sweet spot of those 3 things is what's going to make you a great consultant, or great at starting your own business in whatever you do.
Just tell us a little bit about what your company is and what services you offer to people.
Oh, thank you. Freedom Street. So I basically work with two audiences. I work probably primarily with executives who have been in corporate their whole career, and they're like, you know what? I want to transition out of there now, and I want to start up my dream consulting or coaching business. So I work with executives to define, structure, and launch their dream consulting or coaching, executive coaching. I work with a lot of coaches as well, and help them to land their corporate clients so they can build a sustainable, 6-figure plus income. I also work with small business owners who already have established businesses to help them land corporate contracts. So Freedom Street really is all about helping you to live your dream business through landing corporate contracts or clients.
So the best people to call you, I would guess, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, are people who, if they're getting a package, have a good long stretch of experience, have been in an executive position or at least senior management, and are looking for ways to use that experience in a different way than they have in the past.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, there's never been a better time to start up a business as a consultant selling back to corporate, because of what we've been going through, because of the pandemic. And even pre-pandemic, we are in the gig economy. I'm sure you've heard of the gig economy, where jobs are becoming gigs.
I am in the gig economy. I am full gig economy.
So it's really all about navigating the gig economy. And you don't have to, full-time roles, there's a lot fewer of them. There's so much more opportunity to develop what you can call a portfolio business, where you can have a number of different projects. And to do that, you have to be that rainmaker. You have to make sure that you can leverage your network and make sure that you spend some time on business development. That's the one thing about it.
Well, we have a lot of other interviews that talk about how to network. We do have some more that talk about how to assess your skills, not many, a little bit. So for anybody who is looking to start their own business, there are resources available to you.
Absolutely, there are. Yeah, there's a lot. But what I would say is, depending on what you are looking to do, make sure that you tap into those resources. And certainly, if you are going to hire an advisor or a coach or a strategist, that they have a history doing what you want to do, so that they've walked the talk. So that would be my one big piece of advice for people. And that you ask for references and testimonials, and Yeah, and but there are lots of resources available out there for people who are, have lost their job or been restructured or really want to start up that dream business, for sure.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to start a business without spending some money talking to people who have expertise that you don't. But my experience and my advice for that would be to talk to as many people as you can. A lot of people offer a free discussion, and
100%.
you should know in those conversations, at least get a sense of who you relate to, who you speak to, who you feel like understands you and you understand. And it's good to have a lot of those conversations first, to
I
get a
completely
sense
agree
of
with
who
you,
can help
Craig.
you.
Like, have a lot of conversations, tap into your network, your trusted people in your network, and have lots of conversations. I completely agree. That's a good thing to do. And you know what? Ask people. Like, if let's just say you've lost your job, and you ask your network, do you think I would be good as a consultant out there on my own? And to listen to people, right?
Yeah, one person told me the best thing you can do is ask your friends what your skills are, because your friends know, and it's not just the skills you have at work, it's the skills that you have in your life that you can bring to anything that you're doing. And one thing that I found out when I lost my job is people want to help you. It's too
They
bad that
do.
we are in we're recording this in the pandemic. It will have a life after that. But when I lost my job before the pandemic, everybody who reached out to me, I contacted them and had lunch with them. I didn't pay for a lunch for 6 weeks. And one of those people
It's
ended up
amazing.
hiring me.
You know what? I have to say, Craig, I love what you just said. Ask people what your skills are. They'll tell you. And you can get some incredible insights that way. I love that. And you're right, they could hire you, right? So I love that.
Yeah, just get to know as many people as you can, build that contact base, evaluate your skills. It's a great time for self-reflection.
It
You don't
is.
know where it's going to lead. And primarily, if you are an executive, someone senior management, you have accumulated a couple of decades of experience, worth reaching out to Kim.
Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. And I would love, be totally willing to have a complimentary conversation for sure. Let's see if there's a
Kim,
fit.
thanks so much for your time and your thoughts and your expertise.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Craig. Appreciate it.